Welcome back to Foster Gulch Outdoors. It's been a long time since I've put out a video, but I think it's time to start putting some more content out. So if you subscribers are still there, I apologize. It's been a while, but I do have a lot of content and a lot of great products that I've been purchasing for myself that I would recommend all of you. You know, I don't like to push products just to make money that way. I like talking about things that solve problems for me because I'm one of those people that spends tons of time researching things before I buy because I want the lowest priced and the best made products for anything I do, especially for outdoors stuff. Because if you get caught outdoors and you have tools that don't work or food that goes bad, it's not going to do you any good. So anyway, amidst all this coronavirus fear, I do think it's being hyped up way too much, but I did get this sort of like 1 to 2 month survival kit here. I really don't think coronavirus is going to be as big of a deal as people are making it out to be in the news. I think the elections have a lot to do with everyone jumping on board with it. That can have a big effect on elections for sure. So that's just my personal opinion. But I do think that everyone should have emergency food and the few supplies in case the power goes out, which that's pretty common for power to go out for, 2 or 3 weeks sometimes at a time because of like a tornado or a hurricane. You're hearing about that now down in Tennessee, I believe it is. So you do want to be prepared because, coronavirus made me think, okay, this isn't going to be a big deal, but I think at worst, I might be staying at home for, a couple weeks. I work from home mostly, at least this time of year I do. So obviously that helps me out more. If you have to go to work, that's kind of your decision. Or, I guess you don't really have a choice to make there. But I did think, well, I've been planning on buying all this stuff for a long time, so might as well do it now. Went and spent about $400 on some food that won't go bad, or at least won't go bad for many years. And really what I want to show you here is what you should always have. I just got these off of Amazon. Most of this stuff is purchased at Sam's Club. You can actually order all this stuff online from Sam's for the same price. I think you can do store pickup. But here I got, I think it's, 50 each. Yep, that's right. 100 lighters. So there are 100 different lighters in there. And what I do is I have an ATV, a snowmobile, I have my pickup. If I'm going out in the woods, I always have at least a handful of lighters laying around, and I know where they're at, in my coat, in my backpack, on the machine. No matter how much food you have, if you don't have energy to stay warm and cook the food, like that ramen over there, it's not going to do you any good. You will freeze to death. I do have a lot of peanut butter, and right here I have a ton of jelly. Yeah, that stuff doesn't really need to be refrigerated, and it's not really going to go bad, but if you freeze, it doesn't do you any good to have food. So you should always have some way to produce energy. A lighter, I'd recommend everyone have a propane furnace or a propane, just a little space heater, and then a little propane cook stove. But those little clickers on those stoves a lot of times don't work very well, and I just use a lighter to light the flame. So be sure you have those. I think that was like $20 for all those lighters, maybe 25. I don't think it was that much. It might have changed, because more people are ordering them right now, but you have to have a way to produce heat to light a flame and create energy, especially when you're in the outdoors too. So that's probably the most important item I could possibly recommend, and that was kind of why I wanted to put out this video. But there are a couple other things here. One would be the multivitamin, and The reason you want that is for vitamin C mostly, and maybe a few other vitamins. If you don't eat fruit for a long time, you can get what's called scurvy, and it can kill you for the lack of vitamin C and vitamins found in fruit. Now, if you are 100% native from, say, the Arctic, you probably don't need any fruit to survive ever at all because of your genetics. But most of us need at least a little bit of vitamin C. You don't need to take one each day. You know, probably like half a vitamin once a week or a couple times a week would probably keep you alive. So obviously that bottle, that could last for, I don't know how long, years for one person, 275 tablets. They always load these things with vitamins, way more than you need. Probably hard on your liver if you actually took, 2 of those a day. A lot of them don't tell you that, but that's my personal opinion too. And then the other thing is acetaminophen. In the old days, people used to they would just get a fever and they would die. Okay, they would die just from something simple like a fever. Because if you're not able to control a fever and say you get 2 illnesses at once, that's actually how most of the people are dying from coronavirus right now in hospitals. Usually they're old, but they have another illness or 2 other illnesses, and it's just too much for their body. You have to have a way to fight a fever. On all of these bottles, ibuprofen works too. I actually got both because I'll explain that in a minute actually, but I do want to say that it says fever reducer, and that is the most important aspect of ibuprofen over there, or Tylenol. This is just plain acetaminophen under name brand Tylenol. You have to have a way to reduce fever. If we went back to the Stone Age, without modern technology and without Walmart, even if you had like rooms full of food, and you had a way to produce heat, energy, if you get a bad fever or a sickness and you have no medication to combat that high body temperature, your body temperature will continue rising and it will do permanent damage to your organs, including your heart. So, and it may kill you too. So, I would get both ibuprofen and acetaminophen. And if you're not worried about coronavirus, remember, sort of going back to what I said earlier in the video, everyone should have at least $400 or $500 worth of food and supplies. I do have some batteries over there too. Highly recommend that. So, actually, I might take that back. I said lighters were the most important. That's kind of a toss-up between lighters and fever reducers, because you freeze to death, you die. If you get a fever that goes out of control, you die. And that's just the way it is. That's the reality of it. So keep those 2 things in mind. Ibuprofen, if you take it every day, it can hurt your stomach. Tylenol or acetaminophen, same thing. If you take acetaminophen every day, it will hurt your liver. So I got both of those, because what you can do is you can actually take ibuprofen one day and then Tylenol the next day, or ibuprofen in the morning, Tylenol at night. Kind of spreads it out between your liver and stomach, so you don't do damage through the medication. I would just kind of do some research on that if you're unclear, but anyway, get both of those if you can. They don't cost hardly anything to get a bulk bottle. Really, the lighters and the other thing I'm recommending, you definitely need to get the medication. Those 2 things probably cost me like $40 to $50 total. And that would last for years, all of that right there. So keep that in mind. But thanks for watching. Subscribe to Foster Gulch Outdoors. Please leave comments below if you think coronavirus will be a pandemic or not. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you here next time on Foster Gulch Outdoors and Wildlife on YouTube.com.